I'm John Batchelor. Gordon Chang of Forbes.com is here with me, encouraging me to work up a conspiracy theory about the next story. It's a challenge. I did not know that a television sitcom called The Big Bang Theory existed. What the heck? I read too many books. I don't watch American television. But it does exist. It's apparently popular, very popular. It's in its 7th season. It features young men and women. Some of the men are very geeky, so it's associated with this, the digital age and social media. And some of the women have common sense. But in any event, that's not the conspiracy theory. Now we go to China. Gordon, can you explain, without me breaking into deep concern about the Communist Party, why this is suddenly a controversy in China?
Well, this is a controversy because the Big Bang Theory had, up until a few days ago, been available to Chinese viewers about the same time it was available to U.S. viewers. This was on internet streaming sites where there was very little censorship, actually no censorship, and all of a sudden the state administration on TV took it off the streaming sites along with some other programs. And by the way, your engineer, Nick, pointed out that almost all these shows that were taken off the video streaming sites were CBS shows.
All right. Now, were they mumbling the word democracy in many languages? Was there a picture of Tiananmen in the background? Any coded signaling for the liberation movement in China? Anything like that?
Absolutely none, John.
All right. Well, we'll go to Sarah Cook, senior research analyst at Freedom House. Sarah, I'm holding back from my conspiracy theories of Big Bang Theory, although I'm working up an anagram of Big Bang Theory. That's going to be part of my proof. What is your explanation for sudden censorship of a hit program that's 7 years? I mean, it's a little aged here for a sitcom in America. What does the Chinese Communist Party fear, if that's the adequate verb? Good evening to you, Sarah.
Hi, good evening. Well, it's kind of hard to know what the Chinese bureaucrats are thinking. I think the latest theory seems to be that that has to do with its popularity and the fact that it's pulling viewers away from the National Communist Party-controlled broadcaster called CCTV. And there are even rumors that CCTV may have bought the rights to Big Bang Theory, may show maybe a sanitized or slightly edited version of it, and this may be preempting it so that people then have to watch it on CCTV rather than online. But in general, we've seen a trend over the last few years of restrictions on a variety of different entertainment programs, whether it's online or more commonly on competing provincial TV stations, probably because they're worried about viewers not watching the main Communist Party-controlled state media.
Communist Party-controlled state media. Gordon, do they have sitcoms on Communist Party-controlled media? Do they sit around and worry about competition from CBS?
No, really what they've got are a lot of historical dramas, and of course they've got propaganda pieces, and they've got the big New Year's Eve gala, which is declining in popularity. So, this is a sort of a broadcaster that is losing audience to all sorts of different forms of media streaming and the rest of it, and they've got to be a little bit concerned.
Sarah, I'm going to press you on this because I'm just learning about the Big Bang Theory. I'm suspicious. All right, we've got a character named Leonard Hofstadter, PhD, an experimental physicist with an IQ of 173. Is that subversive in China? Is that inspirational? Is that why it's popular?
I don't know that it's necessarily subversive, but it is something that a lot of young Chinese men relate to, especially those who have gone through university, who may be facing unemployment issues now, have trouble, the competition for finding spouses and things like that. So, this is one of these examples where you feel like the Chinese government might be shooting itself in the foot, because rather than people just sitting and watching this innocuous TV show, now they're on social media talking about the ridiculousness of the censorship. And that seems to me to be more dangerous and subversive for the Chinese government than people sitting around watching, geeks on Big Bang Theory.
There's another character, Sheldon Cooper, who has a PhD, several apparently, and he has an IQ of 187. I'm seeing a theme here, Gordon. Really, really, really smart, maladroit people on television with what you'd call CBS quality jokes. Now, I'm giving up, Gordon. I can't see how this challenges Xi Jinping.
No, and it doesn't. And I actually think that Sarah's got this right. This is all about money.
The money that CCTV, does that mean it's flowing into CBS's coffers, or is there intellectual property issues here?
No, these video streaming sites have licensed the U.S. TV shows that they stream, and so therefore this is all legit. I mean, it was all legit until a couple days ago when the state administration on television and film took it off. But none before that, though. There's no intellectual property violations.
Sarah, the internet in China, we're given to understand it's controlled. The big firewall, right? They do a lot of monitoring. The people who monitor this, are they just young people who watch Big Bang Theory? Is that who they are? I mean, they're made up into scary figures, but I'd like to reduce them a little bit. Who are they?
You know what? It depends on who they are. So, some of the people at these regulatory bodies are probably older people or people who have been in the bureaucracy longer. A lot of the day-to-day censorship on Chinese social media websites is done by the staff of private companies, and a lot of them maybe are young people who are often tech-savvy and, may very well be among those who are watching Big Bang Theory.
There must be a way we can interpret this to the positive, Gordon. See, the Chinese television goes and grabs what it wants, and it grabs an American sitcom that I can't find anything negative about it.
Yeah, well, there certainly isn't anything negative about it, and this is about money. But it also shows how heavy-handed the Chinese central government has remained. Despite all the modernization, despite everything, it still is an old-line, hard-line, authoritarian state.
And possibly, this one interpretation I'll try here at the end, Sarah. I was a big fan of American television in the 1960s, early 1960s. Then a Bonanza, Maverick, that sort of stuff, Twilight Zone. I think if the federal government had come along and grabbed Maverick and then put it on some federal broadcasting company, I don't know whether PBS existed in 1960, something like that, I think I would have stopped watching it. I would have been offended. It had a feel to it that was a rascal taking on the West. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's going to happen in China? Do they risk wrecking Big Bang Theory because they're making it state property?
We'll have to see if that's actually what unfolds. I think if they change the content, then they might be wrecking it. I think, again, this is more as much about now incentivizing people, for instance, who had no incentive to jump the firewall. Maybe now some of those kids will be jumping the firewall just to watch Big Bang Theory, and perhaps along the way they'll, stumble across slightly more, subversive material for the Chinese Communist Party. So that's where I think they're really shooting themselves in the foot with this.
Gordon, is there a response? There's a legal response. Can you say, hey, what are you doing taking it away from us? Does that happen in China?
No one's going to take on Beijing on something like this.
Sarah Cook is at the Freedom House watching the Chinese internet. I know it sounds like an American television show, but in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party, it becomes a negotiating tool, a profit center. At this point, Gordon, the non-transparency of the leadership is laughable. Laughable.
And what they're doing is just so counterproductive, as Sarah says. I just don't understand this.
Gordon Chang of Forbes.com. I'm John Batchelor.